public body now. Public body.
Just have a quick follow-up to what we talked about last time. Did anybody get any clarification as to how you sell county assets?
I think it's not on the agenda here, but did you look into that?
Okay. I guess we tossed ideas around or kind of for the interpretation of what Kirk's saying. And when we go to look at the elevators that we may do business with, and we can always, during harvest time, choose to not harvest that day because we don't like the price. We can go to a different elevator. We have established more than one. But also that to take an example to compare this with, when any department head here decides that they want to go buy paper to use. Let's say they buy a pallet of paper because they're going to need it throughout the year. They've taken a bid by looking up different places that are selling paper and then purchase that paper for X dollars per bundle. They don't need all that paper today. A month from, they use a ream or two of paper this month, and next month they need another ream. So they go to the pallet and take another ream off. Well, at the time that they purchased that pallet of paper, they didn't need that much. So why didn't they just buy what they needed and see what the price was later? Because it could have been cheaper or more expensive. So in our analogy of trying to take a bid for the grain, we are, ahead of time, the board is looking at the possibility of what elevators have the right price. An elevator then fluctuates the basis change from the Chicago Board of Trade to their price. And we can always go in and amend our decision to that if that elevator was under the market, we could go to somewhere else. At the time that we are setting our elevators right now, we believe that that would be the best price for us, but it doesn't mean that we would have to stick with that. We can always have another meeting to change our mind where it goes to.
The only follow-up I would have is the committee willing to request a written legal opinion as to how to sell a county asset such as grain.
In my experience on buying and selling, when we have extra vehicles that goes to silent auction seal bid, and then the bids are opened, and that's who wins the vehicle. On the flip side, we need to establish a basis because the board's going to move. And no matter what the board does, if we establish basis, then that part of it we can bid.
Just go out and put a bid out for a basis contract. Correct number of bushels. Lock in your basis, so you bid it. Deliver to that point.
If you lock in your basis in July, well, right now, fall basis for next year is 40 cents, and many locations are 35. Probably not going to be any better in the fall, typically, but that's just part of.
In the last few years, basis has appreciated by 20 cents almost in the fall. I've actually had a positive basis in Wakeville elevator in the last 2 years in the fall.
Right.
So you can't say that, Bob.
And it can change in one day, you know, a lot if they're not getting the grain they want.
I would say that when the county board looks at purchasing a vehicle or any other asset for the county, we make up a budget. Yes, we do try to get bids, but sometimes those bids do change and they're not honored.
Well, that purchasing is different than selling. That's why I'm asking the question. Selling is a whole different criteria. You're selling a county resource, a county asset. And that's why I'm asking, is the committee willing to get a written legal opinion as to how that process should work?
I would say we should ask our state's attorney.
Thank you.
So we will ask our state's attorney for a written legal opinion on selling of asset.
Any more public body then?
I had a question. I wasn't able to come to the last meeting, but I was able to watch some of it. Gary, I think you mentioned at some point during the meeting, crop insurance has been a big point in all this. Could we get it? Would it be taxpayer subsidized and all that? And you said you had something in hand that you got last spring. I was wondering if you might have brought
I
that.
said I thought I did. I was FOIA'd by Edgar County. I went through all my records. I did not have anything official in writing, which I notified him of. I think it was Monday, Brian got the 22 information that we are eligible for crop insurance, which I also forwarded to Edgar County. And I assume Brian has presented that to the rest of the board. So we definitely are eligible, and obviously whatever I got last spring was all secondhand. And we did receive bids about farming last spring, which had insurance prices in it. If you look at those insurance prices, you will see that we definitely had crop insurance figured last spring. But I can't tell you who it came from because it was just on a cash flow statement.
So you was right after all then, correct, Gary?
Yes, because Brian's got the answer.
He was what?
He was right.
About what?
The subsidized insurance.
That we qualified.
That was my next question. Is it going to be subsidized, or do you have to pay the full price for it?
That's
No, we
subsidized.
qualified.
That's all in the rulings. I don't think that would really matter.
And like I said, Brian got it from his agent. My agent has called me back a couple of times and said he thought it was right and he didn't have an answer from his underwriter, but his underwriter's already notified him that yes, we definitely do have it.
Let's clarify that, please. I did not receive it from my agent. My
Oh.
agent received it from RMA, which is the Risk Management Association, which is in charge of writing all crop insurance guidelines in the United States of America. And my crop insurance agent then forwarded it to me. So technically it came from the RMA.
Correct.
Brian is speaking about the 2022. It is the same. This was actually in the August board packet from this year, or this last year. And I had it right here in the folder when you asked. I didn't realize it was in here, but this is the actual, what was presented. This is from 2019's version. What Brian has now that he forwarded out to all of us is from 2022.
I did that in separate emails.
And you have that highlighted, right?
Yes. I had 5 copies in here, and I didn't even realize they were in my folder.
And that was in the August board packet. Okay?
It doesn't have the whole, I think it was 268 pages then, and what's
I
in
started
it,
looking
Brian?
through it, what's that?
The-
It was page 43,
Yeah,
section 259, part B, I believe.
and the 2019 was page 32. So, yeah, whatever amendments they've made to it, and it was all highlighted in their board package on that one.
Any more comments?
We got one back here.
I'd like to talk about Poor Farm Cemetery. I assume that when all of the mowing and weed abatement was done, it was put in shape. I just kind of wondered who's responsible for maintaining the cemetery?
As far as I had heard, Gary heard this too, the community services have been mowing the
That's
lane.
what I was told, because
And
it was.
clear back here, and somebody has mowed it, because when we were out there working, I drove clear back cemetery, and it hadn't been mowed, lately now, but the weeds wasn't in the lane or the cemetery.
And I was
I
back
think they
there
just did it on a, volunteer.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's fine. I just wondered,
If,
in
But
going forward.
That needs to be looked into.
if they don't, then normally it's the township's responsibility to maintain.
Okay, thank you.
This is a privately owned association that owns the parcel.
Can I ask you, Debbie, do you know, is that cemetery listed as a cemetery?
I don't
You know.
know that it is.
I didn't, I heard once was, but I don't know.
And I don't know that it's a township cemetery either. There is a cemetery book in the clerk recorder's office, but it's not even marked on the GIS as a cemetery. So,
Is it marked as a separate parcel?
no,
So it would fall under the Graveyards Act, which would default back to the township having an obligation to maintain it.
Yes.
We got an answer for everything. That's roads, right? Township?
Yes,
That's what we deal with on a regular basis.
we have one that falls that way. In the township.
The old church.
Any more? Okay, we'll go on item 2, and this here discussion and vote on amending the budget to support this. Brian?
Well, we need to get something so that we can, something on the agenda item for the next board meeting, so we know what we need
Yeah, we're
to
gonna,
amend it, and then it can sit for the 15 days, correct, 15 days?
And
Yeah. I got a lot of numbers in my head right now, so thanks for
villages
the...
are 30 in it.
Yeah, I was thinking it was 15 days, so that we have that in place when we get our bids. So basically, I think what we need to look at is what we're gonna have to spend in a ballpark area for planning and your inputs to plan.
at least up till August then,
I would say up till July,
or July.
because that's when we gotta pay our first, that's when we said we'd pay the farmer for the first bit, and then seed, sometimes it doesn't have to be paid until,
Are we gonna try to, I guess my question would be, are we going to ask for a price on those inputs paid at harvest?
that would be easier.
That way, we're basically making the budget for the custom
Right.
portion.
We could do that. I mean,
What's the chances of that happening?
That was my next question.
Well, I
think
know
they- I think it'd be
seed is
pretty
pretty
easy.
common, and, yeah, I've seen a lot of them that way.
Well, more than likely, you're gonna pay a lot more.
Yeah,
That's their, they figure if that's their cash price, some of them have a,
Deferred
they call it a zero deferred price.
You'll have to get a credit statement from an ID number for the county farm to do that.
Be better off staying current as we go within this budget year.
I guess my next question is, are we allowed to borrow funds that way?
my thought
Are we
process
gonna put
would
it
be
in
just
the
get
budget?
enough to pay everything now.
Okay.
Inputs and all.
Now,
Yep.
Effingham Equity told me last week, I mean, I'm not utilizing it, but then they got pre-carry January price, and they'll take it a fall. I don't know about FS or any other place, but that's what.
I mean, there's stuff like that going on.
Yeah, well, I know a lot
that.
of your chemical site seed companies all have programs, but,
Yeah.
because I know the guy that's taking over the farm, he's gonna utilize some of that, but Equity just said it's interest free, so. I mean, you got, somebody's paying for the money somewhere, but
Yeah.
nothing free, but I know if you go to the bank or Farm Credit or any place like that, it ain't that big difference.
Are they going through a finance company to do that?
Well, didn't get into no detail.
I mean-
He just said,
I know a lot of.
Equity has their own little,
there's
what do they
one.
call that, shit. If I use my language, I didn't mean to say that.
I mean, John Deere has that. where-
They had something this year that, when I did my fall stuff, that, I got 0% till March. What they call that, equity.
yeah, you gotta think.
Pro
there has to
plan
be
or
somebody
something like
that's
that.
Involved, cause there's a lot of risk doing that, you know.
Cost of
somebody-
money somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a question I didn't ask, I wasn't gonna guess it.
Can I throw a wrinkle in the water? So if you do something like what Mark's talked about, as far as do a prize fall payment deal, does that create a lien against the county?
That's what I was trying to say. We had, you know, anytime I've ever done anything like that, you gotta fill out some kind of financial statement, you know.
Well, we're going from one budget year to the next as well.
In the
so
middle
we
of it. That's why I figured we just try to get it
And
done.
I agree 100%. Money's there, but use it.
And you
Don't,
still get your best price.
Right.
I mean, all of us here have probably been prepaying expenses, and the only reason is the state level.
wouldn't be so bad if the budget ended January 1. But we're not.
Well, you need to put that too.
Yeah. Well, the way we're looking at this now, I don't like the idea of jumping from one budget year to the next.
The other thing we kind of have to think of, which I haven't read all this yet, I just got this, but we're putting an investment at risk. The way I understand this, we have to amend this investment policy for the county. I have not read through it, so I cannot give you my true opinion on it.
We're just gonna have to ballpark some numbers here and just come up with some numbers on
Okay.
on what we think it's gonna cost us, is what I think, and then come up with a number and present it to the board. And well,
I mean, you wanna do that right now,
might as well start that process. I mean,
or you wanna go into the next meeting and do that?
yeah, we got it on the agenda. Let's get her hashed out.
Uh,
It needs to be on the. We need to approve something to go to the board with.
So you're saying to get some
Yes.
expenses to pay for this?
The only thing, I mean, we're just gonna have to-
Seed beans and.
We're just gonna, for now, we're gonna have to. We're all in the ag industry here. We all kind of have an idea of what our inputs are right now. What your chemical's gonna be. I've done enough research on my side. I know what my seed basically is. So we can ballpark this stuff out. You know, we basically already set a precedent this fall. It was 18 something an acre to VT. So you got 18.
BT and
VT's all we got
$40 an acre.
basically right now. So you got 40 per acre for a VT and a plant, should cover it or close to it.
That's one time, yeah.
Just this spring. Then you've got your seed.
Do you want to do this custom part of it and then figure out the
Let's
other
do it.
inputs?
Yeah, let's keep them separate.
Because we're going to need a ballpark
Any idea?
that way, because the custom part is going to end up being the bids from,
We just need a number, we need a ballpark number to go to the board with right now.
And all we're doing is applying it right in the fiscal year.
And the inputs to get it planted.
Right.
So if we got basically $40 an acre, are we gonna use, to me, ballpark means 200 acres roughly at $40. That's $8,000 in custom farming to get it planted.
And a little mowing in there.
Pardon?
Budget 10, you're good.
Yeah, that's, all we're doing is trying to make a budget here, and so, seed costs, mine was roughly $60 a unit.
Bingo, right.
So we need roughly 200 units for 196 acres. So you got 200 times 60, There's $12,000 for seed.
Are you using non-GMO or GMO?
That's the GMO price that I have. My non-GMO is a lot cheaper, but I think we're not gonna go non-GMO on
Not
this.
on
I
that
don't,
far.
no.
Treated, I assume.
That was treated and everything.
Yeah, it's 55 to 65.
I think that's gonna cover it, so put 60 in for now, and,
Some of the treatments, 12, 15 an acre.
yeah, I mean, it depends on where you're getting it to,
Right,
and,
yeah,
you know.
volume.
yep. So you got 12,000 for seed, and we did $60 a unit, times 200 units, that should plant 200 acres of beans, give or take a few extra, or maybe not. So we got, calculator, $12,000 for that. Now the wild card is your chemical programs, which the traded seed chemical program is astronomical this year.
It's got Roundup in it, it does.
Yes, it does.
Basically, we got all our quotes, and they went, because they got 20 programs, and they went from 75 to 95 on 2 pass no-till. Because that's about 20 bucks more than conventional usually. So, you know,
Like I say, I got a conventional program down at $38 an acre right now.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I'm sure I'm going to use that one yet, but that's the bare bones one.
I've got 70 for a non-GMO, that's using Liberty. But that's me doing one of the passes of spraying too. I'm not doing both passes, but
Let's figure it at about $90 an acre.
$90 an acre, that's including application.
18,000.
That'd be a good program.
That'd be a top of the, that'd be the Cadillac.
$38, is that one pass or 2?
2.
Yeah,
Putting a pre down and right behind the planter, and
Right
then
ahead of the planting.
right behind the planter, and then come back with a
Look at that
post.
program. I might want to buy some of that.
I've never used some of this stuff that are quoting me, but I'm looking into it. So what do we say, 90 times 200? That's 18,000.
We're up to 38,000.
Then you're gonna have a little bit in that first time for mowing.
Well, they covered that was the 10 on, we just said 10 for the plant and vertical till, so that's probably covered. And what about taxes?
Potash.
Well, that's-
Dry.
Yeah, we gotta put a little dry down.
I don't know what the current price of that is right now, do you?
Oh, I might have something that give us a ballpark here if I've still got it on my phone. I mean, it'll be a ballpark. Let me go into something else, because I had a picture. Well, I got an email from Equity that'll give us a ballpark. If I can find the email.
I think our equity quote was January pay of 830,
830 for potash.
835. I know United Prairie was about $35 more.
Ooh, it's very small. Holy cow, my eyes aren't that good. Price I've got here from Equity was good through December 31st. And it was, if you put it on their GoPay, which was 0% until July 31st, it was $821 at that time. So probably pretty close to where you're at now.
Probably.
So
Yeah, I was just doing it yesterday and I had the number. Yeah, it was somewhere, I know it was 835,
just put 850, just say it called 850.
you're zapping that.
Would we put 100 pounds down?
100 pound be 42.50 then, wouldn't it? An acre.
Plus $6 ad, so $50 an acre, 10,000.
10,000.
I don't know, has that farm ever been tested?
It has been, yes.
Yeah, he kept it current.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't tested last year.
Well, no.
So he's had, it's been tested and stuff.
I guess all I got from that, I don't have one.
So what I would say we go last for 50, that's 48,000. He's-
What about taxes, Brian?
They're not due until, well, they are due, half of them are, aren't they? 3,000. You go and ask for 50, well, what do we have in our budget now? I think we haven't touched anything now.
8, I believe, when we started, didn't
8. So I say we just ask for 50,000, amend the budget $50,000. I think that would cover it. We got 8,000 already in our budget.
we? We just part of that for the vertical till too.
I don't think, was it?
Yeah.
So you still got what?
No, it was pretty much smoked, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there's zero.
So say you asked for 55,000, 55,000, and think we might not need it all.
No fungicide, go lean.
I would say at this moment, we wouldn't do that yet.
You know.
What do you guys think?
Why not put it on there if you're gonna do it?
Do you want to do it? I mean, we
I
can.
mean, you're not gonna take all the money out anyway at one time.
You can pre-price.
I've got a thing on, I've got some pre-priced fungicide in my shelf. I haven't looked at it
Figure
yet.
$30 an acre.
I seen 25 to 35, equity must have 20 programs. And, you know, with and without insecticide, we figure 5, 6 more. I'm not a
Probably
big
in this,
proponent until
in this
it's
particular
done.
part, you may use a helicopter to do it instead of a plane because of,
We're not using ground rigs.
yeah.
I use ground rifle.
Put another 6,000. Why don't we just make it an even
60,000?
60?
So you can put 6,000 for fungicide.
Yeah.
Brian, do you have something figured in for labor?
There's no labor.
That's through the labor bid on the machinery that farms it.
For planting, or you're not?
built in the
They're
test
gonna, they
array.
supply the labor.
Yeah, the farmer
We don't have any
can
labor.
supply that, that's included in their offer for planting and picking.
But you're taking bids on what you're gonna pay the person to do things like planting and harvesting and so
Pay for the
on.
That
operation.
will include his
They're-
labor
The labor's included in that bid.
and fuel and.
Yeah, that's how custom farming is.
We're not union.
I think we should ask about the other tribal. Are
Brian,
you budgeting
There's 3 line
to
items.
pay them to do what they're going to
In
do?
the,
I think he wrote that down.
Yeah, that's included in the,
So you add that all up, wouldn't you?
I got roughly 54,000, so like Jeff said, just ask 60 and won't probably need it.
There's 3 line items in the budget. You've got fertilizer and lime. And there was 2 others that I cannot recall what they were, but I know there's 3 line
Child
items.
repair, or,
Was it maintenance improvements?
yes. I just think it was
There's 3.
3, yes.
Uh,
There's only 3 items.
While we're amending this,
The budget.
can we use what we have as line items, or do we need to add in a line for custom farm and then use that fertilizer for all the inputs?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd say we'd want to do that.
I just can't, I just thought of it, and I don't have the budget in hand.
But no, when we did our chemical prices and stuff, we were budgeting in the application fees. And then when the farmer, when he does his bid, I'm just pointing in general, that bid includes equipment and his labor.
Fuel, machinery, and labor.
Yep. So I'd say we need to get a,
You've got drainage, taxes, and fertilizer and lime, there's 3 items.
drainage, taxes, fertilizer.
Fertilizer and lime, that's the 3 that you currently have for 8,000.
Fertilizer and lime's all.
Yes.
That's 1 line,
That'd be the input.
real estate taxes is
That's
1
the
line,
inputs.
drainage is 1
We just
line.
need to add a custom.
What, did we have 2,500 for drainage repair?
2. There's
Okay.
2,000 for drainage and 2,000 for drainage, 2,200 for fertilizer and lime, and then at 3,800 for taxes, which that had to be for just 1 payment.
And there's 1 payment each year. No, there's 2 payments each year.
Right. There's 2 a year. I'm sure it was like $60-some last year, so that $3,800 wasn't accurate anyhow.
That's way off.
Yeah, it's way off, yep.
So we need to add a line item to the, amend that budget to add 9 line item and amend the budget to add
10,000 out of the 60,
60,000.
yeah. So we'll put 10,000 in the custom farm.
Yes,
line item.
yeah, we have 8 on here, so that would,
Yeah, that would cover that, and the rest of it can fall underneath the fertilizer,
Okay.
or input, whatever you wanna call it.
yes.
Got another question, but I'm gonna have to really dig into, I'm actually digging into the rules. Is there a difference between purchase services and purchase supplies in our budget? I don't, Debbie just walked out, so she'd be the one. I think it's just line by line in the individual budget. I've seen budgets that it was segregated in purchase services and then purchase supplies. So you can separate those two. Okay.
Did you get that? Yes. I'll make a motion, we amend the budget to include a line item that states custom farming, and also amend the budget to include up to $60,000. That's my motion.
Do you want to separate 10 for the custom farm part, or leave it all? Do you want to put 60,000 in which line item?
Going to make a new line item that says
Custom farm.
custom.
Then that 60,000, we can just move it to where we need it.
Okay.
That's how, maybe I'm thinking of it wrong, but that's how I'm thinking of it.
You're wanting the 60,000 to include
Then we
all of
can,
it.
all of it, covers all of it, it can be moved wherever we need it in that farm budget. Am I wrong in thinking that way?
No, I don't believe you.
Because that is the farm budget.
As long as, see, if I remember right from the executive meetings was, if you wanted to change their budget, you had to send it back, and then they had to disperse it into their individual categories. So we would have to actually say how many dollars in each category. So you're gonna say 10,000 in custom
If you want to
hire.
make it that, if you want to amend my motion and say we need to add it to 10,000 in the custom, and the rest of it into the fertility side, I'm good with that.
Okay, I would like to amend his motion.
Well, actually, I didn't have a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Okay.
you didn't have a second.
So my motion just failed because of lack of a second. You make the new motion.
Okay.
You're making a new motion.
I'll make a new motion that we add a line item in that budget for custom hire. Add $10,000 to that line item. And the rest of the additional funds will go into the,
Well, it's fertilizer and fertilizer.
fertilizer in line,
Crop inputs.
crop in. Well, I don't know if we're allowed to change the heading.
We can make two of them.
Fertilizer.
You have a fertilizer line heading already.
Yeah, but we're going to be buying seeds, so why don't we just
Seed and
put crop
pesticides
input?
on
Crop
crop would be the
inputs.
other two.
Change fertilizer in line,
And additional funds to crop inputs.
crop
On
inputs.
the remainder of budget.
For a total of 60,000. Right, Mark?
Yes, sir, for a total of 60,000.
What are you gonna do about taxes?
That's included in that.
But I mean, it's gonna be in the crop
It's
input.
still in the exist,
We still have some there.
I don't think we have anything.
We'll worry about that one.
Yeah, $3,800, what you got in there.
okay,
That'll cover them.
That'll cover the payments gonna be made this year, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, he made that motion, did anybody want to second that?
I'll second.
Okay,
Would you
more
read
discussion.
that, would you read that motion back real quick?
Okay.
Just to make sure we got everything.
Amend the budget to state's line item would be 60,000 for our budget. And then make line item for custom hire 10,000, and the remainder of the 60,000 goes for crop inputs.
Sounds good to me.
Or do you want me to say 50,000?
No, that sounds good to me.
All right, Jeff seconded it. More discussion on that, or all in favor say aye.
aye.
Did I hear you say there's a line item for tax?
We didn't say a line item for taxes.
We've already got some funding in that
Are,
to cover it.
I would say just don't pay it.
okay, that's what, just get ready to, all those opposed, or any opposed? Will this allow us to have Nicole refile
We
to
can look into
have
that.
the taxes
Exempt.
exempt?
We can look into that.
You can
Please,
always
Clint.
refile,
Yes,
Yeah, it doesn't hurt anything.
so I guess that would answer your question. Yes, you can refile.
yes. Because the way I understand it, they can't make a judgment on it until they have exactly what you're going to do. Do it wrong first, and then let us know.
I have no problem having to refile it.
Okay.
We've got, of everything we've got going on, we've got time on that.
Yes,
So,
we have to approve it by the board and all first,
Yeah.
for this part.
yeah.
Oh, I have another question though. I know we already voted, but what about this fall then?
That'll go on next year's budget.
So the combining and all that.
It's next year's budget.
Budget ends in August, so we'll
I'm
be
sure somebody was gonna ask that to me.
Yeah. That'll go on next year's budget.
hopefully that passes. Or we're in trouble.
We'll have crop cover that anyway.
Okay, if we got that one done, then we
We have to hire Gary to run a combine.
Yeah, I can do that a lot easier than I can that disc.
I'd rather run that disc.
Not me.
You wanna see some water holes fixed before you do it again?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, now we're down to number 3 there on the crop insurance. The judge can vote on that. You're keeping notes too, because I'm getting awful.
I can try.
Okay, the question was, last month, we talked about that. There you go, thanks for bringing up the line there. On the crop insurance, then, let's clarify what we're gonna do on that, then. Since there's no advantage to bid on that.
There is no,
And we all know
I will reiterate that, as an RMA product, you can go to whatever company throughout the state and the price it will be the same on an RMA product. Now, if you get into hail insurance and any of the specialty products like wind, green snap, items like that, that can be at a different cost. We're only looking at RMA product, so there is no difference from anybody throughout the state. And this price will not be set on that until March 15th anyway.
And talk to my agent.
Well, actually, we'll know it March 1st roughly, what we're gonna pay. But you gotta be signed up by the 15th.
And that won't come due till September
Yeah,
4th.
or October.
October 1,
October 1.
Yeah,
and then you can go 30 days.
They have a 30-day grace on all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
right.
So basically what we need to decide on this is, the one thing they did say, and I'm getting ready to pull that up, what I sent to all of you, that was sent to me on Monday.
And we can use our previous yields.
No, you cannot.
That's not what my agent told me. That's just what the agent said.
My agent told me that we cannot use previous yields because we were not the active farmer in that time, that we would have to use county T yield. We had no responsibility, we have no prior business of
What is the prior, well, I mean, the county.
county, I cannot tell you what T yield is.
I'm thinking it's 54, isn't it?
And don't quote me on this, but I think it's like 54 or 55.
I think it's 54 on me, I think, like I said, which, for that farm, you
Ain't
know,
bad.
I mean,
Yeah, it's probably better than what,
probably not hurt
The history
yourself
is,
on
yeah.
going with the.
I'm trying to find what I sent you guys here. Things that we had to do. The following person. we got to authorize somebody to sign the contract.
Well, yeah. They kind of lowball them.
And then we have to show the state something saying that that person was authorized by the county to sign
I
it.
read that, didn't
Yeah,
I? I
And
think
then
that
our
should be
EIN
the county
number.
chairman,
I think it should be county chairman.
since you're doing the FSA thing.
Well, I just think it should be county chairman no matter what. I mean, he signs for the county, or he or she signs for the county.
Do we need to vote on him being,
Didn't we already?
we vote on him being FSA,
But this is the
but
insurance.
this is insurance. Do we need to vote on that or not?
I think it would be best to.
Do they, when you do, you're on the insurance committee too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you sign, can I ask?
I signed the stuff for the insurance this past, whatever it was here recently.
So that only makes sense if you need, I think.
But we'll have to have on letterhead from the county saying that we voted to do this person as the assigner.
So
We need to put it in motion here today, now.
Mhm.
and do we have to go towards the whole board then to ask that?
I
I would
guess.
say you would, yes.
So it needs to be put on their agenda as well.
It needs to be on the agenda on the board, but that's a recommendation of this committee, get this person to do that. And then as far as the insurance agent, I would say we need to get somebody that's in Shelby County.
Who do you deal with?
I deal with Strategic Farm, my agent's out of Hillsboro, and the home office is in Champaign. So I'm out, and he already knows that, because I told him I would not. I appreciate it, I was thankful they helped us dig to the bottom of the decision and get the right paperwork we needed, and find the right place in the RMA handbook. But I said, I'm not gonna request anything that you guys, and he understood that. He said, you'll want to go local, which is rightfully so.
Shoot, he's right in.
Mine's out of the county too.
Ours is out of the county too. John? He's in Effingham County. That's where his office is at anyway.
You know, my thought process, you either use,
Mine's out of county.
I would say you use like a farm credit, the
There's
farm credit guy here in town.
There is no farm credit here in town, it's all out of Effingham.
Country companies sells it.
Here in town?
Who'd you say, Gary?
Country companies here in town sells it.
Country companies,
And there's two agents in Windsor and
Go
Coons
around
in town.
Coons, yeah.
Yep, that's who I get.
Yeah,
mine
there's two or
from.
three around here in
Ballpark's
town.
in Windsor.
So we just need to come up with one.
Windsor,
Well, I
yeah.
think the idea
The
is
agent gets a little
involved
step,
with somebody that specializes.
makes
Yeah,
a little money.
everybody.
Not selling 50 different kinds of
It
policies.
wouldn't matter.
And that's what's been important in my background.
That's their job.
Yes.
There's Garrett, Moffett, and Stratford.
Personally, I think it's best to use someone that specializes in it.
Yeah, you wanna,
You know, all these agents you mentioned is some of that. I mean, they do a lot of it. I know Country Company sells it, and I think they're all better knowledge now than they was 15 years ago. But those that specialize in selling a lot of it would be more versed
Yes.
in leading you in the right direction.
So,
first of all, we need to make a motion for Brian to be
okay.
that one.
I'll make a motion that Brian be the administrator for crop insurance. Does that sound correct?
The application must be signed by the person authorized to administer business.
Do I have a second on it?
Let's make sure we get that on the county board agenda.
Next month, that has to be on there.
Yeah,
Or,
this
next week, I
Yeah,
mean.
next week.
I'm still working out 21 minutes.
Hey, so far I haven't written the 21 behind anything yet.
I need to get it.
That's a bonus for me right there.
All right. Any more discussion on that then? Vote on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
That's equity investment group, and I think he's, and then there's a, Dave Smith,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought there was.
not Dave,
Fred Smith.
Fred, yeah.
Is he
So.
Like I said, the pricing will be the same from everybody. It's just serviceability.
Do we want to decide right now who we're going to talk to about that?
I don't know anyone in particular that's their specialty here in county.
Who you talked about over there, they're pretty well versed on.
Smith?
Yeah, that office, aren't they? I don't deal there, but
I don't see
I
it.
figured they probably were.
I've done that for several years.
Yeah.
Greg knows his stuff.
Barbara?
Oh, yeah. And that's all he
Yeah,
did
that's
for
true.
years.
You're right.
Now, he's got his daughter in there
I
selling
have
some
to
other
be talking
stuff.
names here, I don't have a clue.
He used to
I know
work for
10 years
Credit.
ago, he took a lot of farmers that was
Yes,
elsewhere.
he is very
And I mean,
versed.
they were
I
all,
would have voted for
the
that one.
agent just,
I'm sorry.
For
they
Greg.
specialized in all the
Wow.
other insurance,
Yes.
not Carl.
He's, as far as I know, he knows his stuff pretty good.
As far as I know, Greg and Fred and Joey Howell.
Joey Howe
They
here
do.
is well versed, yeah.
Where's he at?
Coons Insurance. And I think those three don't do anything with farm insurance.
I think Tim Boyer's still doing it, I forgot about
Oh,
him.
yeah, okay.
He
Now-
sold it.
I think one of the things you need to look at is the adjustment, how large a group of adjusters each one has. So, which, I just, for me, I mean, I think of that, unfortunately, I've dealt with a lot of adjusters in the last 3 years.
I can go through RCIS and they've been real good.
CRS,
I
RCIS.
just feel like right now, we're at a point where we just throw names in a hat and pull one out, because we don't really know.
I'd be good with doing something like that.
Just throw out a request for proposal.
They're all the same
Excuse
price.
myself if we go.
Man, throw a name in a hat.
Which
I
one?
had a family member that crop risk.
I guess it can't hurt in a short period of time, but ask him to send us a proposal, as Kirk says.
There's no prices on it, nobody knows anything yet. I mean,
We won't know
It's
till
either
March.
that or we just put their names in a hat and draw one
I'd
out.
be just as, listen to him to put it
Because
in
I
a
hate
hat,
to-
pull a name out. Because you guys seem like you're selling names I don't know anything about.
Yeah,
I've not
I-
heard
I
of them.
would-
You've heard of a few. I mean, everybody's heard of a few. Being in the northwest part of the county, we dealt with different area, Mark and I. So, the ground being down in here, it might be better. I feel it should be somebody down in this area that services it. Like I said, the only reason I brought up the adjusters is, I mean, if you got one that doesn't have a large base of adjusters, they sell for a smaller company,
Yeah, there's a bunch of companies.
No, there's so many different companies that underwrite that stuff or sell it. And I'm disclosure, my brother is a crop adjuster,
Yeah.
so I don't know what companies he's signed to, but I would make sure that he wasn't adjusting ours.
I was gonna say, I gotta get my daughter-in-law.
What do you think about it?
I'd say let's table picking the agent right now.
I would say, like, I was thinking what you said, is throwing names in a hat and pull one out. But an RFP would also give us all the opportunity to figure out who would be willing to deal with it. So if we took all the names we just pitched out today, threw them in a hat and said, we're gonna call this guy, and they're like, we're not gonna deal with you, then we go, oh shoot, back to drawing board. So if we throw out an RFP, they're all bid for the job, and then we can pull out of that pool. That way they've already committed, yeah, they'll take care of us. I'm just,
that's a good idea.
I mean, just
There's
a
no
thought.
bid though that you put in.
Well, what I'm saying is, they wouldn't bid for it, they would just say, yeah, if you select me, I'll
Service
be
you.
your
I'll service you.
provider.
If that's where we're at, we want to go, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Like I said, we got until March 15th to figure out crop insurance.
Right.
Does anyone want to take that responsibility to call? We'll write down the names here, but to call.
Request for proposal would be, how's does that work with like the
That
auditors?
falls off of Jessica to send that out to.
Like-
Then we gotta come up with who we want it to be sent to.
And you leave somebody out today,
If they-
you just keep digging a hole. I like drawing a name out of the hat.
I kinda like that idea of drawing the name out of the hat. I don't think there's gonna be a problem with somebody wanting to take our money. I mean, personally, I've never seen a crop agent not wanna take
Okay,
your money.
I got three down here then. What's Fred Smith's agency, do you know? Is it just Fred Smith or what is
I honestly don't know him professionally, I know him personally.
it? And that's what me, I know he was from Farm Bureau.
Yes, Kurt?
The only reason I mentioned RFP, if you put names in the hat and you get one sourdough out there that sells it, his name didn't get put in there, he could raise stink that you didn't put it out for everybody. That's the only reason I mentioned it. Nothing simple with government, I'm sorry.
I gotta stand for a little bit, boys. I'm sorry.
He's got a
There
lot
were
of
many
make.
last
See,
night.
I don't know how many there are.
Been sitting all day.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
No, I don't think we have any.
What was your question?
How we decide which person to go with.
Because like Westervelt Insurance, they sell it.
That's right, they've got agency.
So I'd
don't
say if you put it, advertise for it, there's gonna be 3 people we're not even thinking about that sell crop insurance.
Maybe we should,
Because with
maybe.
Somebody maybe
no
should
bid
borrow
process,
yours.
because it's all the same,
Paper.
that might
Yes.
let you off the hook
Yes, I
a little
think we're
bit.
down to that point, we better just
And then you select the most
put paper, have it
responsible
posted in the paper,
It'd be nice to have somebody that sells
take a
several
request.
policies a year.
Yeah, we can put a paper posting in and throw it up on Facebook and.
Have a contact person.
That way we're not leaving anyone out.
I'm good with
Okay, you'll want to wait on this though to see if we get the budget and all that passed, right? I mean, I know we don't pay for this now, but
I think it doesn't hurt to put the feeler, put the paper, put something in the paper asking for
That way.
agencies that would be interested in selling.
I would ask the
You got no
contract
paper
on
account.
use the Eagle and the Beecher City Journal.
No, you got the Eagle, Beecher City, that's
Well, I
it.
guess the Eagle, I
Golden
forgot
Prairie
about
News.
that.
If you're gonna do that, Golden Prairie News is out of
Oh, yeah.
Mowequa,
She does use
or
that.
paying out of Mowequa, yeah.
Jessica uses that.
I'm fine with that too.
I mean, that's the three papers basically in this area, I guess.
what other one you say?
Pardon?
Put it on the county website.
Have we got one?
Yeah.
Give us time, guys, give us time, damn it.
It just ain't been up there, we need one.
Gosh, you just keep digging at it.
Okay, he said the Eagle.
But you laughed.
Said the whatever.
I know that we need it, I do know we need it. I mean, that's the problem, it's just, there's only so many hours a day for me to do my day to job and do this job. And this job's taking in a lot of my hours of my day right now.
The wheels turn way
The
too
pace
slow.
is good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you gonna take up that part then too? See that advertised, or we gotta have
We
Jessica
need-
do that?
we need-
We'll have Jessica put something in those 3 papers.
You just have to write that for her.
Yeah. I'm sure we can figure something out on versus that.
Yes, it doesn't need to be long.
And all it really needs to be is just send a business card,
Contact.
your contact information, and anybody by this date, and like you say, I think you just send a business card, it would be the
We
thing.
put 'em in the hat.
Put them in the hat and just pull a business card out. I mean,
Yeah.
that'd be the easiest thing to do. Anybody who's interested, send a business card. We'll be drawing a card out of a hat.
Yes.
Put that in the stuff, and that lets everybody know.
If anybody asked, everybody was in the hat, and then burn them when we're done drawing, and let's move on.
We can decide that at a later date.
Make shit
We'll
happen.
decide that at a later date. That's information that doesn't need to be said now, because
Okay.
we could have a young kid walk in here with his mom outside here, and we can just say, hey, kid, come pull one of these out of the hat. You know?
Okay.
We're overthinking things a little
Yeah.
bit here. I mean, we seriously are.
Now we gotta cover our whole bases.
I understand that, but sometimes we overthink it. Just like when we were sitting in here last time and trying to figure out what to pay for replant. Shit's already in there, guys.
Okay, are we done with that one now? Crop insurance covered then, right?
What do you got here? We had a motion to make me to be able to sign, to go to the board.
Well, we voted on you to,
Be the
be
administrator
the
or whatever.
insurance administrator.
And then we're gonna do this, put all this in those 3 papers to choose whoever's gonna be the agent. That's it, basically all we needed on the insurance right now, is that right? Okay.
And
Okay, if approved by the board for this custom farming, do we need to go ahead and make in there a date that we would like bids returned by, and who to? And my suggestion on the who to would be to be sealed back to the
County clerk.
county court. They would stay sealed until
We open it on the next day.
approved by the committee.
Okay, we gotta state something to go to the board to do this first, right?
Yes.
Are you making
Well, I guess I would just open general discussion.
okay.
So if somebody else has a good wording, that's just an outline I had for back in August. So it's just kind of checking through to see if there's something forgotten.
did you go run anything through for?
Oh, I guess that's a question for Jesse.
What's that?
Didn't you?
Brian, you dropped them notes up, did you?
I took those up.
Discuss
No,
anything
you and I-
with her on that?
She was
later?
busy today. when I got
I
back.
asked her to come today too,
Yeah,
but
she
she
had
had
court.
court.
Yeah. We dropped the contract that we just, with all our changes on it, up at Nicole after that meeting on, what
After
day
our
was
last-
that?
The 22nd.
Was it the 22nd? Okay, the 22nd. And she was gonna do all the changes.
He crossed out, he took that.
The one you had from,
For
The
the
spring.
license deal.
yeah.
Are we going to have to get back together to approve that contract before? We was hoping to get it to the board, the full board, next week.
We was talking about that.
Because we have to, as a committee, we have to approve that contract before it goes to the full board. We really need to get that.
Yes.
Is it amended, would it be amended in the original? Because, see, actually, that passed way back, you know, in early spring, the one we had.
Actually, Jesse's right.
And then, but we've done a little changing now.
I still think probably the committee should look over the changes
Complete different title to it.
and then, agree to send it to the board for vote. So it probably wouldn't hurt that we don't maybe meet.
Because we called it a license agreement.
Yeah.
then.
I think we probably should maybe meet next week, as much as I hate to put another meeting
Yeah.
in on us,
Last chance is Tuesday at the same time.
or Monday.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
she
we
has to
need
have it out by Tuesday, 4 or something like that.
So we need to,
if she's able to get to it.
We need to get it.
I would say she'll make an effort to get it done. She had a stack of court cases a day in there. I couldn't even,
Oh,
it was all over her office today. Which is good. It means she's doing work. Unfortunately, it's work.
Unfortunately, she got that much work.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna have to get with her and then have another meeting before next Thursday then. You bet.
And we could always put the custom contract on the agenda.
Agenda already and just,
They'd be on there.
yeah.
And if we're not ready, then we're not ready.
Correct.
Do you want to try to get some input prices together before then?
I think we should.
Do like we did this fall, each one of us go our own way. Okay.
I mean, equity sells seed in input,
I think,
chemicals. FS sells seed in. Miller sells seed in.
What do
Who
you
was the other one then that we took?
Nutrient.
Nutrient?
They do both.
I would say just
Lock, stock, and barrel.
one pass through all of them and
You don't want to give an independent chance or say proceed?
would I? Yes. But as ease of stuff, I think we need to keep it as easy as we can.
Get a package from each one.
Yeah.
I'll do FS again.
You're gonna do FS. I'll do the nutrient, I guess.
That's for dry, 100 pounds of dry. A chemical program for, are we doing a list?
Well, I guess it'll depend on what kind of beans you want to go with.
That's what I'm saying, we need to pick out what type of bean we want. Enlist,
I would say,
I think that 2,4-D bean will be your better shot this year just because of,
Last year.
well, last year and the fact that you don't have to, I mean, the dicamba restrictions and stuff.
Well, and Liberty's hard to get.
Yeah, and Liberty's hard to get. So I'd say we want to list beans, wouldn't you, everybody else? What maturity are we wanting to put out there? That's the next step.
3.5 to 3.9, pick your best one.
yeah, I think we're asking for the recommendation.
But we gotta have it, I mean,
Yeah,
do you want to put a 2.8 out there, somebody says?
No.
I mean, that's what, I mean, we need to have
yeah.
like Bobby said, a 3.5 to a 4.0, I would say. Or a 3.7 to a 4.2, I mean, I don't know.
I'd say a 3.5 to,
4,
or 3.4, I'm sorry.
3, 5 to 4.
That type of
Yeah.
So-
Mid-3. Mid-3s, pretty universal.
Route 6, put it on next year's budget.
And the program to go,
Well,
so that's what we need off that, for those guys, that's their bid.
The the bean chemical program, though, will be just what they recommend for that bean, because
Right, be one
every
pass,
company
two pass.
different on that.
Right.
Reverting back to that, are we just going to kibosh the fungicide then?
Well,
to
these
me,
places
to me,
sell-
that's an elective.
Yeah, we can come back and have that bid out another day.
Yes, I agree.
Well, we had the funding there though.
Yeah, we got it, and we still bid it out another day. 'Cause it could be a hot and dry year. And stuff's burning up, and you're not gonna throw money at it.
Beans made, all this, that's the bad part.
But
Just do the dry, the chemical, and the seed.
That's
What
what I
we,
would
what
say.
we originally said, yeah.
If you can get that by Monday or Tuesday next week, whatever we meet at.
Okay, you're getting, Mark, who you-
Yes, I'll do Miller's, or
UP.
Prairie, UP.
Yeah, I'm not used to that yet either.
And they're doing equity again.
Well, these co-ops do Calv, they don't even have the list game, they stuck with the dicamba. Most of these outfits sell at least 2 different brands.
Yeah, they're pretty
They'll
well
have
having
one
to
list. I just know
They'll
you
have
can't
a
get
list.
through the cow.
Okay. Don't need to make a motion or anything on that, do we? Everybody's got that
No.
up to give it a call to go over agreement before the next meeting.
Okay, so do we still need to agree on the, how we're doing the seal bids?
Yeah, I would say we can go ahead and do that.
Okay.
I don't see why we shouldn't.
Um,
That's one thing we marked off the list.
yeah,
Wasn't that in wasn't sure we go up to Nicole for it to be rewritten, was the deadline and stuff, wasn't that all there?
I don't know if the deadline was in there, was it?
The submission was on last month, we,
that's a good question.
We butchered that up so bad.
Yeah, we butchered it, yeah, we did. I don't know if we did come down with a timeline.
Yeah, we can push that off till next week.
True.
Get a clarification and push it off till next week.
And she might have something already, kind of,
Yeah.
just introduce the date to it, and that'd be it. Yeah.
so next week we'll talk about the date for bids to be in, right?
Yeah. It doesn't take that much to do a bid.
All right, now what,
I'm gonna ask that the page I handed out to everybody, you get a chance to read it and see what you think on this investment policy. Make sure it's not gonna be a stumbling block for us. You don't have to do it now, just take it. We can, if we have to do something, we can do it next meeting.
You want to make sure that's on the agenda?
yeah, I was gonna say, we'll put that on the agenda for this.
Yes, review investment,
Policy.
not just review it, where we may have to actually ask for a change in it. Motion to amend the investment policy.
What else?
For Monday?
Hypothetical date, or we go ahead and take it.
Tuesday. You say Monday or Tuesday?
It's gotta be either Monday or Tuesday. I mean,
Yes,
we've got road and bridge meeting Monday morning.
It ain't on the schedule though. I look.
It was just put out today,
Oh,
or
what?
yesterday, yeah.
Oh,
When
okay.
they
Oh, I
did-
seen it
when
was the
they-
7th.
Well, when the new meetings all got put out, it got moved from the 10th to the 7th because we got the bid letting and they thought it was gonna be, that was the regular meeting. But we got a regular road and bridge on Monday. It was just posted yesterday or today.
Okay.
Tuesday, we have, I know, 9 o'clock meetings, there's 9:30 meeting, purchasing,
That's Wednesday, isn't it?
Tuesday. Second Tuesday of the
Yeah,
month.
that's right.
So you wanna try to do it Monday afternoon? Monday, this time, Monday?
I'm with you guys for over a year. I don't wanna go.
Well, I have no problem.
That's.
I thought you were saying you had too many meetings.
No.
Oh, okay,
No, I just
okay.
don't, Monday morning's out.
Right.
Ours is 9, first one.
Yeah.
9:30
got
is ours,
9:30.
usually lasts like an hour and a half to get through purchasing.
I personally, myself, Monday would, that's just me, but Monday afternoon.
Do Monday afternoon.
Same time, 1 o'clock,
Yeah.
go eat my lunch and come back for the meeting.
Monday?
We just meet for lunch.
Oh, I'm sorry, or Tuesday.
Wish it was that easy.
I could meet you guys over here for lunch and nothing more. Since y'all be here.
But we won't be here till Tuesday, though, right?
That's what, I think that's what he was talking about, or was it Monday?
He was talking Tuesday,
I was talking Tuesday.
because
since
you
we're
guys are already there
here.
on Tuesday.
Would you rather do it Tuesday or not?
Just upload the whole day, I guess.
Yeah, we're here.
I expect you're right.
But I go on, you know, I come at night, our meetings don't take but very long, I go home.
Yeah, but I can't.
I have no meetings on Tuesday, I'm available all
You
day.
good Tuesday?
Anytime Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Ours is good, Tuesday anytime after 11:30,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, you guys.
or,
And Tuesday will work
Yes,
better if we
or
want
11,
Nicole to come
11,
down,
after
because she doesn't
11.
have courts on Tuesday.
Would it, okay.
Tuesday and Thursday, Nicole does not have court.
All right.
Monday, Wednesdays, and
You
Very
said
good,
1 o'clock, didn't you?
So
Yeah.
Tuesday works better if we need any clarification from Nicole on anything.
Tuesday, 1 o'clock.
Tuesday, 1 o'clock.
Okay, I'll get that quick. Okay, let's go over. All right, we went through everything, man.
Get something backwards. That's my shit.
well, you go.
I think they
We'll
would.
get them before.
Anything else
I
then?
don't know the way I absolutely have to.
John's happy today.
Determine on who's gonna do it.
No,
Because
but we'll get a night, it'll help a lot of those.
we got a ballpark there, so we're kinda covered there.
You mean, you're going back to that crop insurance,
Yeah.
just, if we're just asking for what we're already doing?
Well, it would probably be a good idea to get them, get copies of them, everybody take a look over it and see what program they wanna go with too, so.
They should be able to get something to you, but it's 200 acres, guys.
The-
They've got their prices.
They've already got
Everything
their
I've
prices.
ever dealt with, it was all set up from, you had options and you had price scales all the way through
Yeah.
the year, so it ought to just pull it out of the book and there
Yeah,
you go.
it's,
Yeah, in fact, I still got that in here.
I got them somewhere, but
Yeah, it's just a matter of them.
I would think,
backing it.
I think they should be able by Tuesday. I mean, today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Most of them's got it all on a spreadsheet, so it's just a matter of plugging in the numbers, the acres, on the option you want.
And then I do a little research on what program they think needs to go with it, but
Well, like what I looked at equity, once you throw out the conventional stuff, you've got it narrowed down a bunch on no-till programs to pass. And it's still probably 6 or 8, but, and like I said, they think we go 70 to 100
But
bucks.
we got the other part done pretty good. We brought the final axe.
Well, it shouldn't be as bad, it means in the speeds, there ain't a whole lot of choice, so.
On your second pass, it burned down.
Yeah. That shouldn't be too bad.
I think we built a lot into the.
so the agenda for that meeting is,
Yeah, let's get this.
yeah. Go over the contract, discussion and vote on the contract agreement. And that's the main one.
Yeah.
And then discuss the,
You already got the investment policy review.
Yeah, so we need to make a motion on, accept that, or we'll go over that again.
And accept. If we have to.
and then, just go over the seed, chemical, and fertilizer.
Just review
it.
I don't know.
We don't have to necessarily.
We can't really choose anything yet because we don't have the budget set up yet to do that, so,
Yeah,
But if we want to find dinner, we can.
yeah.
we can review all the info.
Yeah.
That'll give us some time to mess with that.
Like I say, that's about all we need at the moment.
But we need to get on the county agenda, let's see if it's,
Oh, we need on the county agenda the amendment,
But
the line item budget amendment, to put the line item on and then amend the budget to,
Go ahead.
state it, yeah, how you wanna state that?
however we had it in the meeting minutes. our minutes here. Would be the easiest way. I would think. That was at the beginning of the meeting.
Mine's on your other page. There you go.
Okay, yeah, amend the budget that states line item to be 60,000 and make the custom hire 10,000 with the remainder of the 60 for, I'll have to rework that for.
Add a line item that's custom,
Yeah.
custom.
These guys and those guys. Pretty good.
And the remainder of the 60,000 will be for dropping. Is that how you want to put that?
Somewhere around
That's
there.
for 60,000.
We'll go talk to Jessica to see how she wants to put it.
Yeah. Well, anything else that's here?
Then we need to put on the county, the meetings, we need to add vote and discussion and vote of county custom farm contract.
Yeah, that's another
Yes.
one. We already got.
Yeah, okay, just make sure that was in the amendment to the budget thing. I think that's all we need on there right now, isn't it?
I don't know how this is gonna turn out, maybe we should put it on there too.
You can put it on there, yeah?
We can always strike it off.
Yeah, I can just,
The,
yeah. You better have too much than not enough,
yes, it's easy to strike it off.
yeah.
You're wanting that on county budget?
Just in case.
And
since
on the
we're gonna-
county, agenda.
County agenda there. All
Yeah,
right. I put that up there.
We got that on our meeting agenda for Tuesday. I think we're covered then, aren't we?
Oh, I've just got 3 items for the Tuesday agenda.
Yes.
Right, and then should have 3 items for the county board agenda then.
Give me that
Yes.
again. I got that mixed up with the top one.
Basically the same 3 you got right there,
Right.
except for the amendment for the budget is the main one. I mean, you got the vote on, discussion and vote on the custom farm contract or agreement or whatever we're wording it. You've got the amendment, the vote, discussion and vote on amending the ag budget by adding a line item called custom farm, amending the budget by 60,000, adding a farm item, custom farm, putting 10,000 into that, the rest of it goes just in the farm budget of that 60. And then the discussion and vote on, what's that called, the
Investment policy.
investment policy. That goes on the county board agenda.
Hopefully this is,
Okay, that's worked, yeah.
Okay, so that's all should be that we need on the county board.
Yeah, yeah, all right. I got 4 items on there.
your approval first. Can we ask if anybody's got anything else from
I do have one.
the,
comment.
Go ahead, yeah.
Well, this came up last year. Where are you gonna put the cash from the crops and where are you gonna pay the expenses from? That turned into a major issue at about 3 meetings last year.
I think that should be a special fund.
Needs to have its own account. The farm needs to have an own account, like the airport, and then just profit gets to the general fund instead of the proceeds going to the general fund. So you're gonna have to have an accounting change.
That is nothing we have to deal with on this year's budget.
I did some checking on that to see
Yeah,
if we
go
could
pay
set up,
bills.
I did some checking to see if we could set up an additional fund account
Mhm.
so that money just goes in that fund and then the profits could be taken and,
And the bills paid out of that fund,
yes.
instead of being paid out of the general
And
fund.
from what Erica told me, yes, it could be done. She did some checking.
I think that has to be
Several
done
months ago.
before you pay any bills or take any income, either one.
And our idea was that, of course, any money that comes back in, before we actually hold money in that account, we would pay the budget funds back first. After that, then build that account up so that it's self-sustaining and not have to ask for a line item on the county's budget to finance that. That way I'm getting a smile from the gallery, so I'm kind of curious as to
I'm
what's.
just curious, you had revenue coming in when you were renting it, what account did that go into?
General fund.
And that was what the complaints were about at 3 different meetings, was that we were doing it wrong.
So our idea,
Revenue that's not taxes.
No, it was both. It was the expenses, because they said the expenses were being paid by all the taxing districts, not by the farm.
The rent is not taxes. So taxes are brought in and dispersed into the funds according to what each percentage is. That was an income that was not on a tax bill of any sort, whether it be sales tax or a disbursement from the state, or federal government. So since the rent check went straight in the general fund as just an income, my opinion was it should have been earmarked for a special use of maintenance or something that would show, it would show this farm has generated X amount of dollars over the years, we can use this for this purpose. But since it was never done that way, it was just absorbed. And since it's not a result of a tax of any sort, that's why I had a beef with how it's being done.
So we need to amend
I don't
Accounting.
I had the comments on expenses and income
To-
both.
include the line item of farm,
it's just gonna be farm account.
yeah.
It's got to be an independent item, just like the airport.
And every dime from that income into that farm account, every dime of that will go back into the general fund.
After expense.
Except,
After the expenses are paid.
correct.
Mhm.
Then the farm doesn't have to ask for a budget. There's money left over there. It's gonna self-support the farm, and any profit then can be then as we were talking, with a lot of ideas, earmarked to for the maintenance or care of the courthouse so that it benefits everybody in the county. Not just, as Bobby also said, just absorbed or going anywhere.
So we want to put this on the county?
Put that on the agenda for Tuesday,
But-
and then put it on the agenda.
Because that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
I would say a revenue chain could be March, down the road, unless we want to have discussion on it now. Or we think we should have our ducks in a row before we propose anything.
Well, in some respects, I can understand that. People are going to want to know, why is this any different than what we've tried to do?
It ain't different, we've just never done it that way before, and there's questions about how we've been doing it.
As long as the farm's taken care of, I don't have a bit of trouble financing their, proceeds going to the courthouse. We've got to make sure that farm's taken care of first.
And then on the second side of it is
It's got to
not asking, in the future, not asking the taxpayers to fund the farm to put in a crop. Once it has its own account, its own funds, then the only thing that the taxpayers see is the farm's making money and going to the people, not
Seen a
pulling
window
any
or two
funds
put in
out of.
there.
Try to get the general fund out of the farm.
So if the farm makes profit, you gotta file a tax return?
No.
That ain't fair. That's unequal treatment under the law. You have an advantage. That's why governments ain't supposed to own, money generating industries. So now they can put us all out of business.
Yes,
You
they
know?
might as
don't
well.
have to pay taxes, income, state, federal.
Philosophically, he has an extremely good point. I'm hearing the word profit associated with money coming in from the sale of the grain. Governments are not supposed to be a profit-generating entity.
Well, we know that, I mean, it's just, we're going.
Okay,
Yes.
I will take one thing to counterbalance that. In various times, we've talked about excess office space that could be rented out.
Sure.
That actually is making money that's bringing back into the system. Yeah, it's empty space, but we are making money off of that if we had someone more to rent it out. So this to me is a little bit of offset to that, same type of thinking.
I really think we're on the right train of thought, but everybody in the back of their mind to be thinking of the bylaws that this committee has to operate by. Because the state has not done it yet. And that's where every other office in this courthouse operates off is the laws and rules set forth by the state legislature. We're doing something a little bit above and beyond and outside of those realms as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion. So, as far as what they're saying, yeah, we're operating a business. We need to have strict rules on how that business is perceived and the proceeds of the business is to be handled. That's my opinion, but this committee needs to have, to function, we need to have some bylaws of some sort that establishes the ground rules and it puts the protections back on that, even myself, what if this whole scenario was based off the car wash uptown? Would the five of us know what to do with the car wash uptown? Yeah, probably. Maintain it, keep it up. But in reality, we all know what to do with the farm, but do we know exactly what to do with the car wash uptown? It's a little difference in business model, a little bit difference in format, but I really think that just because we know what to do with it in 20, 30 years, will the next board know exactly what to do with it, be able to handle it. So we need to create bylaws so there is some continuity front to back and for the future.
That's a long
That's going to be a tough one. That's why there are constitutional lawyers in Springfield that sit and delve into this stuff all the time. But
It's an important one though, because you guys are 5 farmers, and look at the diligence it took to get to where you're at. Take 2, 3 elections down the road, and you end up with a farm committee that doesn't have a single farmer on it. Do you think they could accomplish what you guys just did? That's why I think what he's saying with a roadmap and bylaws is so important, because who knows what you're gonna have 5 or 10 years from now, board member wise.
I guarantee I won't be here 5 or 10 years from
Even this fall, isn't there an election in November?
now. Pardon?
Don't all the county board members get elected in November?
Yep. There's no guarantee I'll be here in November.
Hopefully the beans are cut before then. May not be anybody on the county
There
board.
might not be.
Well, do it, I need to put something else, are these just thoughts? or do I need-
that's just my comments on everything that's been brought up in the last 5 minutes.
I'm gonna do adjourn.
I would say when this is presented to the full county board, between maybe a couple of us speaking just a little bit of what we're trying to accomplish, if there's questions, is otherwise is working forward to establish that full set of guidelines.
And we're gonna have a basic guideline set up by the time we get done here.
Yes.
And it's pretty self-explanatory. We're talking
But these on the county agenda
It's-
then, do we want to split these up by 4 different items then?
on the county engine board.
Yeah, so that each one can be presented, or?
Yes, it needs to be, each one needs to be separate, or, you know,
The farm committee need to have its own constitution as well as.
You would you like to do the investment?
I haven't reviewed it. We'll see here at the next meeting. You can put my name on it, that'd be fine. I can always defer to someone else. If they know more, or we strike it, or
I guess if you get to it, you don't want to. And then amending that budget, you wanna do that one? For the 60,000, or do you want somebody else?
he's got enough.
You want me?
I'll do it, Bobby do it, whichever.
You wanna ask for that, Jeff?
Yeah, I'll
All right.
make sure what I have for them. That's,
You got plenty to talk about, don't you?
and that's for putting it on the.
not my job to make a motion.
Oh, County Board.
You know which one I'm talking about?
That's how I look at it, it's not my
$60,000.
responsibility.
You want me to put that on?
Yeah, I
Something
have
out of
that
the-
budget, 60,000, 10,000 for the, you can reword it how you wanna reword it.
That's how.
Or you wanna switch, or do whatever, I don't care. We'll all take a shot.
This is what it needs to turn into, this year, right?
Correct.
And I think we'll turn them in today, that way that part's done.
We get paid by the hour today, so maybe not.
8:30 to 3.
Yep.
We have 3 things. What's the other one we gotta do?
And then the budget. Well, that's part of that one.
60,000.
Yeah, so I guess we just have to, and then ask for a custom, approve the custom farming agreement, which we'll have to. We'll go ahead and put it on there, but we've gotta give them the call.
Right, that's what we'll be doing on, I mean, if it's not ready, we won't,
Yeah.
I'll gloss over that on the agenda item and move to the next.
Do you need another name on the third item?
Do you, in this amendment of the farm budget, what we want to put on there, do we need to put in there, add in the line item
To add the custom farm line item and amend the budget by 60,000 and then
You got all this down.
we'll get it worded right somehow.
Wing it.
That's what I have an idea.
Also add a line item, custom.
Change the chemical and fertilizer to
And I'll stay out of the wind at least.
inputs.
I haven't hardly been out of the
Should put
building
anything in
since.
there about putting it up to 60,000, put 10 in it.
Yeah. How long do that
Custom farm.
10 for custom.
Custom deal went out and the garbage can hadn't been emptied. And when it came back like an hour later, they'd all load over because they emptied them.
And the other item, I guess I'll put it number 2. For the custom farming, discussion and vote on the custom farming agreement before we get to the,
You're gonna do that one?
yeah, I get that.
Change fertilizer and lime.
And if you need a second with that to help with both sides of the situations, I'll help you with it.
Okay.
Because I think in that, that's where we're kind of going to explain why we're doing this and what we're expecting the profits to go to.
Maybe this off here. Amend the farm budget to 60,000. Also add line item custom farm budget to include $10,000. Also change fertilizer and lime line to crop inputs to include $50,000. That sound right?
Out of the total 60,000.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else? Okay, we'll make a motion to adjourn then.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
All those favor?